Hi, everyone. So we're going to answer a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm sure Ian and Anastasia get asked a lot too. Do you want to attract better tenants to your buildings who stay longer? Maybe they pay more rent and are happier. Well, landscaping is part of the solution to that, and we're going to try and prove that to you today. So over to you, Ian. Why don't you share your screen?
Certainly. Thank you so much. So, as we said, my name is Ian, and I am a manager here at Instant Lawns. And welcome to our webinar, More Than Curb Appeal. Today, we're going to explore thoughtful, intentional landscaping and how it can increase your return on investment, protect and strengthen your net operating income, and differentiate your properties in a competitive market. Our focus is simple: leveraging strategic landscaping to enhance asset value and long-term performance. So this webinar is designed for commercial property owners, developers, and property managers who are focused on protecting and growing the value of their assets. So we're going to focus on practical, proven ways to improve tenant retention, not through incentives or concessions, but by enhancing the daily experience tenants have with your property. The goal is simple: help you increase ROI by creating environments tenants want to stay in. So what does one tenant turnover really cost you? Not just lost rent, but marketing, make-ready work, staff time, and momentum. For most properties, that adds up to thousands of dollars. Vacancy isn't just lost rent. It triggers a chain reaction that quietly erodes both ROI and NOI. When a space goes vacant, those costs begin immediately. All of these factors compound. Together, they reduce return on investment and put direct pressure on net operating income. Many tenant turnover begin long before notice is ever given, and the first warning signs are often right outside your front door. So let's identify some of these warning signs. So here we have a lack of clear signage. That creates confusion and weakens property identity. We have dry, struggling plants and dull garden beds. This suggests deferred maintenance and erodes confidence in management. Overgrown garden beds and no discernible outline or clean edges. These are signals to tenants uh, that there's neglect, inconsistency, and declining standards. They notice this long before concerns are ever voiced. So, one of the biggest misconceptions in commercial real estate is that landscaping is only cosmetic. So, when budgets get tight, it's often one of the first things cut.
That's right.
But but tenants experience the landscape every day. It becomes part of their routine. And when something becomes part of someone's daily routine, it starts shaping how they feel about being there. And that's the shift. We want you to see that landscaping isn't just an expense. It's part of the tenant experience. It becomes part of their brand, and by improving your tenant's brand, you improve their success, which allows them to pay higher rents. So we want to design these landscapes to be engaging. We want people to use them. So if you think about how collaboration actually happens, it's rarely in a formal boardroom. It's in casual moments. It's the lunch conversations, the quick check-ins, the 5-minute breaks outside. When a property supports those moments, tenants associate value with it. And tenants who feel daily value are far less likely to shop for alternatives or push back at renewal. That's why we love to say that tenants who play together stay together. It's not because
Ian,
it's entertain.
Ian,
Yes,
it's also true of couples.
it is
Anastasia, if you and your husband
100%.
play together, you'll stay together.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Definitely, definitely. It goes across all aspects, to be honest, of your life. And
Yeah,
it's not because it's entertainment, but it's because you're creating connections. So
right.
those moments with your spouse, that's creating connection with them. That's building that relationship. And that's the same relationship we want tenants to make with your properties as well. So maybe some outdoor ping pong would be a good time for people to be able to enjoy each other's company over lunch. And rather than talk about things in the boardroom, they might talk about their 2 o'clock webinar at lunch. So, but why does all this engagement matter? Well, we touched on a little bit there, but ultimately what we're doing here is we're turning landscaping from an expense into an ROI driver. We're going to encourage the informal collaboration in the community. We're going to build positive daily experiences on site, and we're going to strengthen these connections with the property. Maybe an outdoor classroom to get the kids outside sitting around and rather than sitting in the boring classroom and dazing off into space. Hmm.
Ian, one of the things I suggested to my law firm, they own their own building, is that they build an outdoor classroom and for the days of summer that they do deals outside, and they did that, and it led to higher productivity for the law firm, for the lawyers, and also for their clients. So I hadn't really seen that before when you first
Hmm.
mentioned that the ROI is there because tenants stay longer and and they maybe pay more rent and there's less vacancy and all the rest of that. But I hadn't really also sort of figured out what you just pointed out is that maybe you also improve productivity. Those chance
Exactly.
meetings that you said you talked about, you're passing by, you see Dan or you see Anastasia or me, and you say, "Hey, I meant to mention something to you," and then you have that 5 minute conversation. Those are called collisionable hours, Anastasia, if you've ever heard that term. It just means that a chance meeting might actually be a 5 minute or 10 minute chance meeting might actually be more productive than even an hour, with a solid agenda. Those
Yeah.
meetings can sometimes be a little boring. And so I
Yeah.
think, Ian, you're on the right track there. That it isn't just that you're reducing vacancy rate and tenants are staying longer and all that good stuff. That actual productivity might move up a notch or two.
No, exactly. I find that even myself, if people are just conversing over lunch and things like that, things just they happen more organically.
Yeah, I like that word,
Yeah.
organically. All right, go back to sharing your screen and let's keep going and prove the rest of our thesis.
So let's take a look at the key costs that are impacted. If we're going to go back down to the brass tacks of things here.
All right.
So at the end of the day, landscape tenants value, reduce vacancy, protect occupancy, and preserve profitability. So as we said, tenants loss costs more than rent, it's marketing and all the other added things there as well. So a usable, valued landscape protects occupancy and long-term profitability.
Can you share your
Uh,
screen again too?
oh, certainly. I thought I had. My
Oh, that's
apologies.
okay. I'm a Zoom expert, but I know you haven't done that many Zoom meetings. I've done more than my
Uh,
share. Well,
sure.
while
There we
Ian
go.
is doing that, Anastasia, you can give your a little introduction for yourself.
Yeah. My name's Anastasia Kwiatkowski, and I like to call myself a marketing guru. I do some TikTok videos and have gotten close to 30 million views.
Yeah, and you do some video editing too, which I've
Yes.
seen, and some good stuff there. I mean, what makes a great film or a great video is a good editor.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
definitely a big
Oh,
part in it.
huge, huge.
Yeah.
I think that is, in fact, the most difficult part of making a film. I know a number of filmmakers over my career, and just while we're doing introductions, my name is Bruce Firestone. I do a little bit of business and real estate coaching. I'm the founder of the Ottawa Senators, a National Hockey League team. Oh, there we go. Uh, that's me in a nutshell. And the older I get, the less doing I do, but the more talking I do. So I should shut up now. All right, Ian. Why don't you go back to sharing your screen again? Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
I think I got it down pat here now. So we're
Yeah,
good to go.
okay. No
All
problem.
right, so get back into it here. So with the property perception, so that's another key cost that is impacted. The way that it impacts your cost is that through better landscaping, you're going to create a stronger perception and branding, which is
Yeah.
going to lower your turnover and then increase your return on investment. And then when it comes down to lease renewals, well, a well-designed landscape is going to add value beyond the four walls. Your rent increases, they'll feel justified. They won't be arbitrary. There'll be less resistance and fewer comparisons and lower turnover risk. So you're limiting your concessions, you're protecting your NOI. So landscaping can really drive these things home for you. So first impressions and ongoing perception. So when landscaping looks tired, irrigation fails, plantings are struggling, it quietly signals decline. That message is felt by tenants and their clients alike. Confidence erodes, pride fades, and questions start forming. Is this still the right place for us? Tenants and their clients notice first impressions aren't one-time events, they're reinforced daily. A daily perception drives long-term decisions. So let's talk about where property identity really begins, and it starts at the street. Before anyone walks inside, the exterior is already setting expectations. The landscaping, the lighting, the signage, it all communicates something about how the property is managed and how much ownership cares. Those details might seem small, but together they send a very clear message. This place is stable, organized, and intentionally managed. Landscaping plays a big role in reinforcing identity and visibility. That's one of the reasons we've introduced integrated berm signage. It doesn't just mark an entrance, it creates presence. It anchors the property visually and strengthens branding right at the frontage. And when tenants bring clients on site, that arrival experience becomes part of the brand story too. The property itself becomes a part of their image. That kind of street level perception matters. It builds confidence, and confident tenants are proud tenants, the kind who stay. So, comfort and safety matter a lot more than we think. Clear walkways, modern interlock, and low voltage lighting create welcoming, secure environment for tenants who operate beyond the 9 to 5.
Really
Not
nice.
everybody's. Sorry, did you have something?
No, I just said it was really
Oh,
nice.
okay. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. So not everyone works your typical 9 to 5 in the office. Some people have meetings online overseas that might be there at 2 in the morning to speak with a company in Japan. Some places are just 24-hour operations. Why should the outdoor landscaping be limited to just those who work during the day? Thoughtfully designed, well-lit common areas encourage use, connection, and positive tenant experience. Level surfaces, reliable irrigation, and consistent upkeep minimize liability, prevent hazards, and reinforce professional property management. And when tenants feel that their safety is being considered, even outside normal business hours, it reinforces trust, and trust makes a renewal conversation easier. Emotional attachment and community feel. When tenants have the emotional connections and community feel tied to the property, that creates a sense of pride and respect for the property, and they are more likely to renew. Tenants don't stay because the property is the cheapest option. They stay because it is worth it. They see the value in the property and how it is maintained, the quality it consistently delivers, and the experience it creates for their team and their clients. And when that value is clear, staying becomes the easy decision. So there's many different choices that you could make to boost your ROI and improve NOI through your landscaping. There's different outdoor amenities you could consider. Things, for example, like barbecue areas, seating clusters, outdoor fitness zones, informal meeting spaces can turn pass through areas into destinations. Instead of walking past the landscape, people are actually going to use it. When tenants use the site every day, something important happens. Familiarity grows, attachment grows. Engagement matters because it supports natural collaboration. Conversations happen more easily outside. Teams connect in ways that feel organic, not forced. That kind of environment increases the perceived value of the property. The good news is this doesn't have to be flashy and expensive. Durable seating, meeting areas, exercise area. Sorry, I totally lost my train of thought there. My
That's okay.
apologies. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're on the
So
next slide there.
perfect. Thank you. So
So
landscaping,
on this one here, Ian, I'm going to
yes.
chirp in here. Just leave the slide up. Uh,
Okay.
I think landscaping, especially in northern climes, northern United States, and of course much of Canada, I think landscaping we don't do enough with wintertime. And most people, of course, think of landscaping in Florida or Texas, which has, of course, much longer summers. One of my clients in Florida says they have like 330 days of summer, whereas in Ottawa, Canada, we probably have 113 days. So they have about three times what we have. But I think landscaping can, in fact, be something that we do not just in the spring and summer and fall, but also in the wintertime. So what you're showing on the screen here is a terrarium, which can operate year round, even in the coldest climates. And you've got lighting scenes. I mean, there are things that we can do to really brighten up and make things more cheerful. Ian, you must know what SAD is, right? Seasonal affective disorder.
Yes, definitely. And that's exactly what we're going for with the terrariums. Or down here on the bottom right, there is a conservatory, which is another
Wow,
option as well.
beautiful.
So all these things here, they can fight SAD, and that seasonal consistency is really important because there's nothing worse than having a landscape that maybe just in the spring is blossoming. So over here, what we are showing or showcasing is if you have fruit-bearing trees, they will blossom in the spring. So you'll have flowers up there. And then if you go more towards fall, well, if you plant things that blossom in the fall as well, bloom in the fall, like your
Beautiful.
August mums and things like that, then you can have a constant rolling garden bed of just flowers all throughout the season. And
So
then once that's,
I think Ian, you could have an edible landscape.
yeah, certainly, you certainly could. Um, so yeah, well-planned landscaping and irrigation search space never look dead, neglected, reinforcing the property's quality in the tenant's eyes. And here we go talking about winter landscaping. So LED light scenes, as you had mentioned as well, are other things we could do as well. So just creating beautiful lightscapes to light up the property in the evenings, especially in the winter when it gets dark at 4 p.m. By the time we're in the middle of it. So define visible spaces, design with intent. Clean edges, clear pathways, and strong sightlines define usable spaces, while a well-designed lit berm sign anchors identity and limits of garden frontage. So this whole area here, when you have clean edges, clear pathways, and strong sightlines, there's an immediate sense of clarity and purpose. That definition eliminates the overlooked or pieced together feeling some properties develop over time. Instead, it feels intentional. The result is no forgotten frontage, no mixed signals, just a clear, consistent message of care, stability, and investment, the kind tenants notice and value. So what would you do next is we would want you to audit your landscaping. What areas are tenants seeing daily, and where does neglect show first? If you focus on what the tenant sees every single day, like your entrances, your walkways, your gathering areas, you can identify where people actually spend time and how those spaces shape perception the most. You can catch neglect early. Small issues are noticed by tenants long before management. These visible areas are the property's daily handshake. First impressions aren't one-time events, they are reinforced daily. Proactive audits protect confidence, satisfaction, and renewal decisions. Align landscaping with your tenant demographics. So enhance usability, satisfaction. As you were saying earlier, you can plant a living treescape with fruit trees. Increase engagement with this space. Designed for the people who use the property, it's not a one-size-fits-all model. Relevant spaces get used. Use use space create value. If you have a tech-focused tenant, maybe collaboration zones, flexible seating, social spaces, recreational areas. If it's a medical or more professional tenants, maybe you want something calm, orderly, low maintenance, a little bit more green space. You want landscaping that's going to reflect the tenant demographic that isn't just thoughtful, it's strategic. Another thing to consider aligning your landscaping with would be your lease renewing cycles. Renewal periods are when tenants actively evaluate value. What they see during that window directly influences decisions. Strategic timing sends a message. Visible upgrades signal active management and long-term investment. Improvements reinforce confidence and ownership. Stronger renewal leverage, market rate increases will feel more justified. Extended terms become easier to secure, and conversations shift from resistance to value. When landscaping aligns with renewal timing, it's going to work harder, protecting revenue and maximizing ROI at the moment that matters most. So you can influence the perception at the most critical moments. You have support for negotiation leverage, and you maximize your ROI. And remember that tenants who play together stay together. Topiary berm signs. Bruce, is this the area that you wanted to jump into?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I will. One of the things that we're trying to get across is that landscaping, whether it's irrigation, residential, uh, or commercial landscaping, adds value. I mean, we've hammered on that point. I did a study some years ago, Ian and Dan and Anastasia, that, for example, on the residential side, a street with a mature treescape, houses on that street will sell for 6 to 8% more than houses maybe 3 blocks away, virtually identical, but they don't really have a treescape or not much of one. So it makes a difference on the residential side and particularly on the commercial side. And one of the things that Instant Lawns is working on are topiary signs. And I only learned that term, Anastasia, from your husband about 3 weeks ago. I didn't even know what a topiary sign was, but a topiary sign is something that's made out of plant materials and also from approved landscape materials. And these are signs that, depending on the traffic count, if you own a commercial plaza and there's 35,000 vehicles a day going by, a topiary sign is worth somewhere between $25,000 and $35,000 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about a billboard sign is very expensive. In LA, they go for, a lot of money. Mind you, the traffic is there. And in smaller cities for less. So I think a big part of what Ian has been talking about is what I call negative cost. That the actual investment that you make in improving your irrigation and improving your landscape can have a negative cost. In other words, it's a profit maker. So if you have a house, plant some trees. If you own some rural property, plant some trees. If you own commercial property, call Ian.
Yes, please do.
Yeah. And one other thing I haven't mentioned to you before, Ian, is that there is another aspect to all of this. It's kind of strange, but it's a fact, and it goes back, I think, to the 1970s, and it was called something called broken window syndrome. And what it was they would take a car, the very middle of the road, middle class car, and they'd park out on the street in a U.S. city, and they would leave it there for a week. The car was clean and neat. It wasn't brand new. It wasn't too old. It wasn't rusty. It was just a nice middle class car. And they would have a camera on that thing 24/7. And there was very little graffiti or damage to that vehicle. Then they would come along and they would take a brick and they would throw it through the passenger side window. So now you had some damage, right? And it obviously didn't look very good. It's like the pictures you were showing a few minutes ago where
Hmm.
the landscaping was, kind of downtrodden. So now you had and then within an hour and a half, the car was stripped. The tires were gone. People were stealing everything they could. They were destroying it. It was incredible. It's called the broken windows syndrome. It means that if you have a beautiful, well-attended landscape, the amount of graffiti and vandalism and even petty crime, which often leads to major crime, is much less likely to occur. So I think some of the things that you've been talking about today are things that I believe in, which is, tenant retention is very important. And then I learned something today about the productivity improvements, that the investment could be a negative cost. In other words, it's a profit maker. And there's lots of possibilities here. And Ian, maybe you could just tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, certainly.
Do you have a slide that you could share where we can see,
Yep, I'm
picture?
gonna share it right now with you.
All right.
Perfect. There we are.
All right. It's about to share. Okay. So, Ian, you're the irrigation manager, and you have a few years of experience, I guess.
Yeah, I've been doing irrigation and well, I've been in the landscape industry for about 16 years now.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so I've kind of seen it all. I've seen all the different irrigation systems that are out there. I've seen all sorts of different types of landscaping, landscape lighting as well. I'm quite passionate about the lighting aspect of things. I do love the difference it can make in the warm feel and how it can turn a space from just something during the daytime to something that's usable all day and all night.
I
But yeah,
leave the slide up if you don't mind, Ian.
certainly.
I own some rural property, and we have Christmas lights, LED lights all throughout the trees, and so we have an Easter scene, we have a Christmas scene, we have a Halloween scene, and we just did it. It's just a cottage property, but we did it because it's so beautiful, and at nighttime, we're outside with our fire pit, and maybe my wife's having a glass of wine, and it just, it just changes things. It's magical, really.
Yeah.
Anastasia, who came up with the tagline there, instant gratification?
It actually came with the company when we purchased it, but it's a great tagline. It's amazing.
So you can't claim it as yours.
I can't. Nope.
You're the marketing guru who admits that she's not the marketing guru on this one.
On this one, yep.
All right. Okay. Dan, if you don't mind, mute yourself for a second, and Ian, just minimize it. And we're almost done now. I think we've killed it here. Just thank you. So, Dan, just introduce yourself too. What do you do?
I'm Dan Clark. I am the residential manager of the residential department at Instant Lawns. This is my first week of new to the team. Happy to be on board. I apologize. I got in late here and you guys had a nice flow going, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh, you're not interrupting at all. I really appreciate you joining us. And, this is, a first webinar, and, it wasn't perfect, but it was very well done. And I thought the preparation you did was excellent, Ian. And by
Thank
the
you.
way, after you've done a few thousand presentations, it gets easier.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Yeah, I do apologize for the little bit of
No, no,
technical
not at all.
difficulties I had.
My PhD supervisor, he was a tough German. His name was Max Neutzer. I was doing my PhD at the Australian National University when I was a bit struggling, with the writing. He said, in that German accent, which I won't be able to emulate. He said, "Don't worry, Bruce. The first million words are the toughest."
Fair enough.
All right. So everybody, again, thank you very much for joining us, and I'm going to end the recording now.